all may have found ourselves in a position where we were left out of something. Whether it was other kids not wanting to include us in the game, the cool kids didn't invite you to the party, you weren't from the right background, or simply because you were different in some way. I felt I was counted out many times. My life story is long, but let me try and keep it brief. My upbringing wasn't an easy one. I was born into an abusive household. My mother eventually left my father when I was very young. I was raised by her. I was told he didn't believe I would make it, that my mother wouldn't manage to raise me and I would die. Well, didn't that give us motivation to prove him wrong? My mother struggled and of course life was hard, but we lived. I learned a lot of life lessons which equipped me for what would come later. At the age of 15, I sadly lost my mom in death and it was a hard time. People thought I wouldn't make it then, that I would end up doing drugs, running around with men to make easy money, but that just motivated me to prove them wrong. And then I found myself heading a household and having to balance going to school and working part-time to provide. I was always an A student and did well at school, and this really didn't help me getting any likes or being part of the crew. I matriculated with good marks and sadly I had to turn down a scholarship, a bursary and an internship. I wanted to study further just like everyone else around me, and I feel like a college or university student, but I couldn't. My circumstances didn't allow for that. I remember crawling into the closet and crying bitterly, thinking to myself if I was being counted out again. Will I have the same opportunities as others to do something with my life? I wondered. At the time I didn't have the answers, but I was determined to be happy. That motivated me. So one day I had a light bulb moment. From when I learned how to read, I read any book I came across, sometimes twice. I couldn't afford a plumber or electrician in my teens after losing my mom, so I taught myself all sorts of handy things so that the house wouldn't fall apart. This made me realize something. If I could comprehend how something worked, I could do it. Every day, everywhere, I could learn something. Nothing actually stopped me from learning. So when I started working full-time after I matriculated, that's what I did. I learned. And through my willingness to learn, I grew in my working environment. I also finally got an opportunity to study further. Though it wasn't the typical on-campus experience nor what I would have studied being a natural creative, I was grateful. Life also presented another opportunity for me to learn when I started working for my previous boss, aka Bivia, the best boss ever. He mentored me and taught me everything I know. And at the age of 24, I found myself in a management position, not having applied for it, but he saw potential in me that I didn't see in myself. He believed I'd make an excellent quality assurance manager and that there was greatness in me. Of course, I was scared, and over the years that followed came many challenges. Being African, female, limited experience in the field. My height was against me too because I am quite short. Gaining the respect of my colleagues was hard. I found myself in another position where I felt like I was being counted out. Many times I cried, wanting to quit my job, but my boss wouldn't let me. And how grateful I was that I persevered, because eventually things changed and my colleagues counted me as somebody worthy. You may feel left out, feel left behind, uneducated, marginalized, discriminated, you name it, but it doesn't limit what you can achieve in life. Take every opportunity to learn because nothing stops you from learning. That's why it's called lifelong learning. You have the power to influence and impact others. So teach others, mentor people, especially those who may not have all the same opportunities as you. And it's okay to be different. I was determined to prove to everyone that counted me out that I would not only live, I could be happy and I could be successful. I love when you count me out because it only fueled my greatness.